Everyone says how horrible it will be to renovate or build your house. We're here to say it doesn't have to be that way. Join 3 seasoned architects as they interview homeowners who recently completed a large project and ask them one simple question. What do you know now that you wish you knew before you started? Welcome to Home, the Second Story podcast.
Hi, and welcome to a snack size episode of Home, the Second Story. I'm Taylor Davis from TPD Architect.
I'm Sheri Scott with Springhouse Architects.
And I'm Marilyn Modinger with Runcible Studios.
Okay, let's jump into our little snack bite for today. We want to talk about cabinets, kind of a hot topic if anyone is doing a kitchen renovation or a bathroom renovation.
Or a full house.
Or a full house. Like
built-ins.
everybody's doing this stuff.
Built-ins everywhere.
Let's talk a little bit about cabinetry. I think one of the things we were talking about before that jumps out as a topic of conversation I have with lots of clients is what are the different kinds of cabinets, and we'll start with, and there are lots of different categories, but maybe can we start with like defining what's the difference between off the shelf, semi-custom, and custom? We'll like start there.
I mean, I will just go ahead and admit that almost 100% of my clients are full custom. So that's what we do. So full custom means exactly what it sounds like. You can do whatever you want. There's still certain things you might adhere to, like 24-inch boxes, or, there's certain norms that you might adhere to. The other thing we should also talk about is the different types. So we do full custom, full overlay, frameless. So European style, which I know different places, obviously, there's very regional differences for that.
Right.
But I love full custom because we can do whatever we need to. So if you need to have 3 doors that fill a certain area and they need to be equal, they can be like 13 and 7/8, 13 and 7/8, 13 and 7/8. You don't have to have big fillers or weird stuff to like make it work. And everything just looks really nice. And at the end of the day, when you're spending all this money on a renovation, like having the full custom is usually the way to go for my clients.
So ours is a little bit different. I would say we're probably 50-50. In the kind of semi-custom. So you can do a lot of different things in the semi-custom.
Absolutely.
You start with a base of all of the standard boxes, and then you may pay a little extra if you want something special done as kind of more of a custom thing. But the base, you really want to play inside the rules to just make it a little bit less expensive. I will say these days, though, if you get nice semi-custom cabinets, they're not that much less expensive than a good custom place.
Yeah. I know.
Right.
I know. It's wild.
Surprising. Still surprises me all the time.
That's why I'm either doing off the shelf, literally IKEA, or full custom. There's almost like, what about you, Taylor?
So we've done kind of all of the above. I would say in new construction, it's a little easier to do off the shelf or semi-custom because you can plan around the kitchen lots of times. If you're doing a renovation, we generally always do full custom cabinets. And I mean, I've done some IKEA kitchens. They're not easy necessarily, and contractors lots of times don't want to touch them. And
they hate them.
They hate them.
Are they that much less expensive? I've never done one.
Yeah, they are. But they are really that much less expensive, and they have a good warranty.
They have great hardware. They use Blum hinges.
Great hardware. So if you can find somebody to like put them together and install them, it's actually a pretty good deal, but the contractors generally won't do it. So that's kind of one of the rubs we've come against. The semi-custom ones, we don't use quite as often. Custom, I think what we found is that the cost difference, semi-customs are generally being shipped from somewhere else, from a big cabinet company somewhere else. But our custom cabinets are coming from like the cabinet guy who lives 10 minutes away. So that difference in like shipping and storage, if they're on a schedule, there's all sorts of cost benefits to using our local cabinet makers. And they're on site and they can come do shop drawings really easily and we can check them all. So, we go a little bit back and forth, and there are different things that are appropriate for different jobs. Like if you've got like a basement kitchen that the kids are hanging out in, IKEA may be the way to go.
Just IKEA that.
Just IKEA that baby. But if like you are really like if this is an entertaining kitchen and you really want this place to sing inside your renovated house, then full custom is clearly going to be the right path, I think. So it really depends on the project. And I hesitate to say that there's a good, better, best, but I think sort of vetting it within the context of the project, I think is really important. But those are the differences. So
those are the differences. Yeah.
then you can get into how they're built. So Marilyn says she does full overlay, European look, frameless cabinets. We do those. We do full inset cabinetry. We do full overlay, and we kind of fake it to look like inset cabinetry. We do reeded. We do shaker. We do the whole 9 yards. It really depends on the house and the kitchen and the clients, which makes it's kind of fun for us because it's a new design for millwork every time. It's challenging. And we also do a lot of historical work. So we're referencing, cabinet details from the 1920s or the 1930s that are really important to our clients. So you can get into cabinetry details all day, much less what's inside of them and how that stuff works. You go on forever about that.
The Italian, I said Italian because my cabinet maker is Italian. European versus American style. So that's frame or frameless. That's just how the box is built. The exterior can look all kinds of different ways. But, I would say that it's regional as to what people expect to see. But I would say too that for me, I think it's also about storage. So on a frameless cabinet, you get a lot more storage. You're not opening it and there's a frame in your face. The doors coming together don't have that rail in the center that the doors are hitting. So for me, that's why, and I'm just partial to the European style because you just have more space to put everything. But I think we can all probably agree on some things here. Plywood boxes, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And we always do maple interiors. So maple veneer interiors so that it's nice and bright. So some people are like, oh, I want it to match my walnut cabinets on the inside. First of all, it's going to cost a lot of money. Second of all, you can't see anything. It's so dark in there.
Right.
So,
We are doing walnut on the inside of some beautiful cream colored cabinets with a custom maker, and it's amazing. And it might be a little dark, but I have to say I love it.
That's what lights inside the cabinets are for. If you really want some bells and whistles, then you put in some lighting inside the cabinet.
well, and also, Taylor, you brought up another fun thing. So we do a lot of different door styles as well. So you said reeded. So we'll do reeded glass. We'll do plain glass. We'll do stained glass. We'll do metal mesh. But really the thing is, do you want to see what's inside the cabinet or not?
Right. Yes.
So
99% not.
right.
Yes.
So everyone loves the look of clear glass, but I'm like, look at your Pinterest pictures of those clear glass cabinets. And unless you're willing to keep the inside looking that nice,
Right.
you need reeded glass or mesh
Dust.
or
Dust. It's dust. It's not just about being OCD and organized. It's dust.
Yeah.
And storage. You can't, my kitchen is packed full, every cabinet. So
Yeah.
I could not do a glass front on any of them.
No.
So the three of us went to Vegas a couple of years ago, and we went to
Vegas stories.
Yeah. Well, no, this is not that exciting, but we did get excited by the cabinet insert company, Rev-A-Shelf, had a big display, and we spent all this time opening shelving and magic corners and things you could pull out and around. And there really is a huge amount of inserts and things that you can do inside cabinets that make them better for the bathrooms. We put, where we have teenage girls, we put in metal grommets so they can leave their flat irons and hair dryers and all that sort of stuff in so that they're not sitting on the countertops.
And they plug in inside there.
Oh yeah. I can't remember what the name of the plugs are called that you put in the boxes. That's another thing. Get the specialized outlets that go into the drawers because they have a protected cord so that you're not rubbing electrical up against wood. That's a bad.
Yeah. Don't put your janky, don't go to Staples and get your little.
That is not
strip.
a DIY thing. No, don't do that. Please don't do that.
Please don't.
Nope.
Yeah.
Please don't do that.
But a good note for our listeners is that those Rev-A-Shelf, they can just be put in retroactive. Anyone can put those in their cupboards.
Yeah.
It's a great resource.
And they come with like the silverware drawers and the knife drawers and all that kind of stuff. We're doing one right now where, so a lot of people are asking us for specialized stations or at least a bank of drawers or something for arranging kids' lunch stuff. Because all the little containers for all the little things, you put the kid lunch stuff in and inside the lunch box. And a lot of times there's lots of rules because no peanuts, no this, no that. So everything has to be organized. So we'll do this Rev-A-Shelf thing where it's got all these slats in it and you can like move it around and it's got all these little cubbies for like all the different lunch containers.
That's
and then
cool.
water bottle containers. Oh my
I've
goodness.
seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
All you need is like just some of those slats. Like it's nothing fancy, but then instead of opening the drawer and everything's all.
Well, and especially now that we're doing so many drawers instead of cupboards, it's hard to keep those organized.
Let's talk about that, Sheri. So that's same with us. Like we're doing almost all drawers and
Almost
no
all.
doors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's hard to make it look, I love the look, but then when you really get into it, if someone's really set on symmetry, sometimes it's hard because the trash pull out looks like a door unless you have a custom cabinet and you can put it into two. One of the things with drawers that I really like is when it has a nested drawer inside. So it's not always a 12-inch drawer, but it looks like it from outside. So you can keep all those lines super clean.
Well, controversially, I hate those.
Oh, I love them.
I just don't like the function of them. I don't want to pull a drawer and then another drawer and like 1,200 drawers, but they look awesome. And I realize that most people like them. So I still, you know what we do when we do doors now is we'll do doors and then we'll do a rollout.
Pull out.
Oh,
yeah, we
sure.
do that, but we do that a lot.
Yeah, for your pots and pans and stuff like that.
And for the KitchenAid, Rev-A-Shelf has its own little lift. So you
Yeah.
can open the door and then you hydraulically pop that mixer up. So you're not lifting 30 pounds from the
We are not sponsored by
floor.
Rev-A-Shelf, but if they
No,
want to
we're
give us a
not.
call, we're fine
Yeah.
with that.
We do love a little, that magic corners are sort of really near and dear to my heart.
Magic corners. You know that corner in the back of the cabinet when the cabinets come to a corner and it's always this dead space and you're supposed to do like a lazy Susan. In our house, we called it a lazy herb because my mom's name is Susan. So the lazy herb. But yeah, you can use this. It's a super cool thing. You pull it out and you can use that space back there.
And it like does strange things and acrobatics to get stuff
so
into
cool.
that dead space. I want to talk real quick about, we focus mostly on kitchens and bathrooms, but there are lots of other places where we put cabinets.
Yes.
And you're seeing a lot. We're about to do one with a TV lift. So the TV is hidden all the time and then it magically emerges from the cabinetry for use during football games, generally around here or whatever it is somebody wants to watch. So let's talk a little bit about what other stuff goes in cabinets. Knickknacks, bric-a-brac.
Mud rooms. That's what we're doing. Mud rooms.
Oh, yeah.
So we're doing lockers for each kid. We're doing shoe storage. That's sometimes integrated with a laundry sink. Laundry rooms, that's another whole thing.
Yeah, laundry
with all the
rooms.
built-ins and like folding shelves. So you pull out a shelf and you can set the laundry basket there and you can drying racks and all that kind of stuff. It's basically all the stuff you would have had to go to Target and buy a bunch of plastic things for. Now we would just build it out of.
Yeah, and this kind of goes along with kitchens, but the big pantries that we're doing, the working pantries. And it's kind of interesting because in there, you can do more open shelving and baskets and things like that. You don't have to go to the expense of everything closed in. So we've had some fun with those things.
Yeah, that's super fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about how we design cabinetry real quick, because we all design our own cabinetry.
Well, I was going to ask that question too, because we do not. We give design direction and we get all of the information from the client, but we have our custom cabinet people design the cabinets.
Oh no, you know me by now, Sheri. You know I'm drawing every line of that cabinet. So we draw everything. And then the cabinet maker comes back to us with shops based on that. And then we go through that. And that shop drawing process is actually one last check and balance with the owner to make sure, hey, we drew this 6 months ago during design with you. Everyone was happy, but now we're getting ready to order them. Are you still good? is everything still the way you want it?
And have you thrown away all the things from your old kitchen that you want to throw away? And what are you
That's right.
putting in all of the places that we are
Yes.
showing in cabinets here?
That's right. That's right. So yeah, we design everything, and we design vanities, bookshelves, like any type of millwork we are drawing.
Yeah, we are too. It's a lot of fun because it really does get the homeowner thinking about what they want it to look like, but B, what are they going to put everywhere and how do they like function in a space? So, do they have a special collection that they want to show on some built-ins? Do they have, do they not want to see their television? Is there stuff that they need to store that needs to get put away? I've had a couple of conversations, I admit, where I have been in somebody's house and they want to design cabinetry to what they have. And I have given them the Marie Kondo book and said, let's have a conversation after you've touched it all and figured out what brings you joy. Because sometimes it doesn't millwork is expensive. And sometimes it doesn't make sense to build things for stuff that's impermanent or that you really know you need to get rid of and you haven't gotten rid of. So having that conversation with yourself and with your family about what you really want to keep and what you don't want to keep, I think is really critical before you start engaging in making cabinets.
And also millwork, like in a living room or wherever, is really easy to add later. So just maybe leave that. You want to get the kitchen done, but you can leave some of those other areas like the media room or the, whatever room, and you can leave that for later. But I also wanted to, in like one more second here, just touch on hardware. So cabinet hardware, I mentioned Blum hardware before, like having soft close hinges, having knobs versus pulls versus all that stuff. So shouldn't be surprising anyone. We actually design all of that. We pick out all of that with the owners. We place everything everywhere. But there's a whole world there. And maybe we can do a little snack on hardware at some point, because I think there's a whole realm of like, how do you choose hardware? And do you want a knob? And do you want to pull? And all that kind of stuff.
And how do you budget for it? Because that's a big scale.
That's exactly right.
I want to jump back before we end, because I think there's a whole, and I'm partial to this because we are doing a library right now. And so
not just any library, this library is fantastic.
The library.
It is the library, but it is the when you have a special collection of things like books, paying attention to how you store those books and how you access those books or whatever that collection is, think about that when you are doing your millwork. Like that's been something that's been really fun, is to create like display space that also has some function to it. So I think that millwork has so many different kind of opportunities for creativity and for function. It really is such a cool kind of aspect of doing what we do, because I think it really makes the space sing. And like this library is entirely built around the bookshelves. I mean, that's the whole point of it. So millwork can be either an afterthought, it shouldn't be, but it can also be sort of the centerpiece too. Thank you so much for joining us today on Home the Second Story for our little quick snack. And if you have questions for us or are interested in being a guest, please reach out at admin@htssspodcast.com, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Home, the Second Story podcast. Feel free to share this episode with a friend. Contact information for all three of our architects are in our show notes. And don't miss future episodes. Follow or subscribe to our show for free in Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you're listening right now.